Frankie boy! You ready to go? Showtime! Showtime!
Connecting, and we're connected. Let's give her a play. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm groggy. Damn it. Maybe I should bleep that F word so we don't get monetized. Demonetized. Holy smokes, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning. A little too much of the devil's lettuce last night. So I'm going to put a little bit more toxicity in my body and grab myself a little energy drink. Mind if I do? All right, everyone. Let's get that posture cranked up. We got everyone's favorite guest is back. We got Frank in the house. Thanks for coming on again, Frank. I appreciate it. You can talk into the mic whenever you want to talk. If not, no biggie, okay? All right, episode 83. And guys, I got a short free newsletter that comes out every week, every Thursday if you want to. It'll be in the bio and you can subscribe to it. And it's just gems throughout the week that I think can maybe help people, help up-and-coming athletes, whatever it is. A short newsletter. It's in the bio, and you just put your email in, and then it'll send you one every week. It's really good, and I'm enjoying doing it. Oh, yeah, last night, Mariah fixed me up 2 cheese chicken quesadillas, and that might have been a little bit too much. When I eat too much cheese or sugar, then I sleep talk sometimes. I start sleep talking and I start cussing out shit in my sleep. I don't know what's going on there. So I'll maybe have to look into that. Also, dealing with some plantar fasciitis in the foot. If you're an athlete, then you might know what that is. It's when the arch in your foot collapses. And I've been trying to run a lot lately and do some stuff. And plantar fasciitis is back, but I have a lot of ways to counter it. I put this little sleeve over it. I roll it out. I ordered this little thing on Amazon that you sleep and it pulls your toes back. And plantar fasciitis is not something to mess around with. So in the news today, you hear many people talking about banks going under. Jay?
Just in that Jorge Masvidal pod. That's about it.
That's a little scary, isn't it? You think you're comfortable. You're like, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. I'm pretty safe for a little bit. And then you find out you have the money's gone. Your money is gone. Mm. Can you even imagine?
Ain't got much in there, G, so I ain't that worried.
Ain't no baby.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel that. Well, let's not focus on that kind of shit, because that'll stress us out. Let's go to a little James Clear this week. See if we can get a couple gems here. But we got a hell of a show for you today. Number 1 from James Clear. Your problems adjust to their true level of importance after a hard workout and a good night of sleep. Man, isn't that the truth? If you're deprived on sleep or you haven't worked out for a while, the most small problem could just seem like a huge problem in your mind. A huge problem, you're stressing about it. You get a good night's sleep, you get a hard push in a workout, and then you're like, all right. It's not too bad. I like that one. Okay, number 2. If you want to be rich, then be kind. It's hard to create wealth unless you work well with others. And it's hard to work well with others if you are unlikable. Even if you can build wealth without kindness, rich jerks end up poor in friendship. You can buy friends, but not good ones. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, good relationships with your friends, good relationships with your family, with your partner, it can't be beat. For sure. Okay, number 3, a phrase I heard recently and found useful. I agree with the idea, but I disagree with the tone. Many ideas get dismissed because they are delivered in a cocky or hostile or dismissive tone, or because of who delivers them. Separate substance from style. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, sometimes teachers, through school, they teach you in the wrong tone. And I'm automatically thinking, no matter even what they're teaching me, when they're teaching me in a tone that it's like they're almost talking down to me or whatever, then I'm thinking, fuck you. So tone matters. Okay, quotes from others. Scientist and systems engineer Donnell Williams on intellectual humility and learning from others. Remember always that everything you know and everything everyone knows is only a model. Get your model out there where it can be viewed. Invite others to challenge your assumptions, to add their own. Decent. How about Max Ehrmann offers some words for life. You are a child of the universe no less than the trees and the stars. You have to be right. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. With all its shams, drudgery, and broken dreams, it's still a beautiful world. Be cheerful. Strive to be happy. Okay, a little too deep maybe for our listeners, but no problem there. Question for you, is what I'm about to do today connected to what I'm going to value over the long term? Yes, it is. Yes, it is, because I enjoy podcasting. I hope to be podcasting forever. I enjoy it, and I'm always looking to improve. I'm reading this new book. It's called Make Noise, The Art of Podcasting or something, and I'm getting a lot of good tips and gems out of there. So I listened to a podcast recently with Naval and Tim Ferriss. Naval Ravikant, he wrote the Almanac of Naval. And if you haven't read that book, I highly suggest everyone reads that book because it's so good. There's so many gems in it. Okay, here's a little clip from it, and then we'll talk about it. Try to stay with me here. It's a little deep.
There's a Calvin and Hobbes, where Calvin has this box that becomes a universal constructor, and he starts making copies of himself. So he turns the box upside down, he opens it up, and another Calvin comes out. And so he commands this Calvin to do his homework. And then he creates another Calvin, and that Calvin has to go and do his chores. And sure enough, what he ends up with is a whole bunch of Calvins who are all playing video games and eating food, and none of them actually want to do the chores or the homework, because these are the AGIs, these are Calvins. And so, yes, disobedience is a big one. I will say your philosophy has had a huge difference for me on child raising. And I have now realized that it is more important, even through this conversation, it is more important that I have a disobedient child than an obedient child, or an educated or learned or whatever I may think is the right set of things, because it is fundamentally that disobedience that allows the creativity to come up with new ideas. And it's that creativity that separates us from the robots and the automatons and all of the other things that the universe is full of.
What do you think of that, Jay? Isn't that interesting?
Pretty good.
Disobedience. So if you have someone who's disobeying, that's where creativity comes about, when they're not just being robots to the system. So if you have a kid who's disobeying, like I say in college, when I dropped out of college, I kind of disobeyed my parents. Well, even in 7th grade, when I decided to live with my dad and not be Jehovah's Witness anymore, I kind of disobeyed my mom. And it led me kind of where I'm at now. And dropping out of college, your parents just want what's best for you. So they just go to college. You're going to end up, fighters don't end up with anything. But I disobeyed and created this academy that we have here. So that's pretty interesting. If you have everyone who never disobeys, then you're going to have a place like North Korea, where it's just, you just listen. You just listen and turn into a robot. But I like that outlook. That is a podcast from Naval and this David Deutsch guy on Tim Ferriss. They go really deep. They go really deep talking about AI.
Is that recent or is that an older one?
It's brand new.
Oh, really?
They talk about AI and how AI really won't be a huge problem until AI is able to disobey. Once they're able to disobey and tell you to fuck off, I'm not doing what you want me to do, then we're going to have some issues.
Have you been seeing all those clips of like, they'll take a random, like Kanye's voice and make a brand new song, but it's all AI?
No, I haven't seen that.
I've been seeing it a lot like on Twitter and TikTok.
I think I have been seeing that with Biden.
Yeah, like it's fake. Even like the pictures, you see the Donald Trump getting arrested one, like that's all AI.
Wow.
And at first people thought it was real, but they're like, no, like it's AI. So they're making like pictures that look really real, and voices and like songs that's never happened.
Frankie, smoke?
Isn't that crazy?
Smoke or no? Okay.
Imagine like they could take your voice and make like something super like saying it fucked up and then release it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, but it almost covers you up a little bit if you get cancel culture and they're like, you said this, and no, I fucking didn't. That was AI. That was AI. So I've been watching a little bit of Henry Cejudo's videos. They've been popping up on my YouTube algorithm.
You subscribe or no?
I don't subscribe, but I am interested in what he said. He has accomplished a lot. But when I see him, when I see his videos, I see who he's training with, and he's not training with very competitive people. It doesn't look like in the videos anyway. And then he's just overthink. In my mind, it's just like they look like a bunch of dorks. He's trying to get so like analytical. If this person moves left here, then I'm going to move my left foot here. And if this person moves right here, I'm going to move my right foot. And if this person jabs here, then I'm going to... It's like, dude, he is triple C, but you start to get that technical, and then you got to fight someone like Sugar who doesn't even... He's switching stances constantly. He's way far away from you. You're going to have some issues. That's why I'm just praying we get that fight. But Henry seems confident that he's going to beat up Aljo. And it's crazy. Just styles make matches. Yeah, but when I see their vlogs, I'm like, man, he's just really dissecting every single step and forgetting it's a fist fight. And random shit happens in fist fights. Yeah. What else is going on here? What the fuck else is going on here? Oh, I was talking about in that Naval pod too, how the disobedience, humans being disobedient, that's what separates us from robots. Okay. They also talk about in that pod trying to find your passion, or for young people out there, trying to decide what they should focus on. And if you always listen to your parents, yes, your parents want best from you, but times are changing. They want you to go to college, just become a part of the system and pay your bills, go into debt and pay your bills. But their advice on that podcast was to find what are your interests? What is your interest? And there should be your focus right there. Learn as much as you can about that. Try to surround yourself with people, experts of that area. Try to study people that are already successful in that area. Within 5 to 10 years, people will be paying you for advice. And then that'll be your life. And I thought that was a good advice for young bucks. Figure out what your interests are and focus on that and try to work hard towards that and try to learn everything about it. I thought that was good. Okay, another question I've been getting, jiu-jitsu in street fights. Jiu-jitsu versus street fights. If you just do jiu-jitsu and then you're going to get in a street fight, there's just so many different variables in a fight that can happen. Like there's just too many different variables. But if you're in jiu-jitsu and you think you can just fuck someone up, you better be careful, because there's concrete and there's people that you don't think that are very explosive that are very explosive. You could see some little fat ass who's 5 foot, whatever, however tall, and think he's just going to be some schlub, but he unleashes a couple nasty hooks on you and you're like, holy fuck, and he lights you up. And in the cardio for a fight, a real fight especially, is so much different than cardio for just jiu-jitsu, where you know the partner's not going to hurt you. You know if they catch you in a submission, you can tap and you're okay. There's concrete. There's shit around you. You don't know how tough this person is. You don't know how scrappy he is. So the conditioning, your heart will go 0 to 190 within 20 to 30 seconds. And if you're not ready for that, and if you're not comfortable making good decisions when your heart rate's that high, then you're just going to be bucking and flopping around like a fish. And in a street fight, you need to be ready for the unexpected. So I think it's important for even jiu-jitsu athletes, if that's what you're kind of wanting to do it for, is self-defense, I think it's important that you get into some striking classes. You get into some striking classes and learn a good stance, learn to have good balance from your stance, learn to keep your hands up, learn to bring your hands back to your face, and then learning to cover the distance and grab a hold of the person and maybe get on top of them. But a street fight versus jiu-jitsu is a big thing. If you get two people the same athleticism and the same scrappiness, the person that knows jiu-jitsu is probably going to win. As soon as you grab a hold of them, they have an idea of where they're going. When the person that doesn't have any experience in jiu-jitsu, they're just guessing. And when you're guessing in different positions and you're just bucking around, you're going to get tired and you're going to make a mistake. And then that person will be either on mount or on your back, choking you out. So you've been enjoying you been enjoying striking, Jay?
Yeah. At first, it's like with anything, just being brand new, you're supposed to suck, obviously. But it's been cool. Like every class, I get a little bit more comfortable, just kind of obviously throwing, kicking.
Mm-hmm.
It's super fun though. It's like it's a whole nother thing. Makes me appreciate like people that like are in MMA way more. You know?
Oh yeah.
It's like whoa. It's like when you see that shit, you think, oh, you like same. You're kind of dumb to it. I can do that shit.
Yeah. Yeah, you think it's really simple. You just throw punches out there. But it's a whole nother art.
It is.
There's been, times throughout my kind of like career or whatever that I've just been obsessed with boxing. And I would study it. And I would study all the boxers and study Canelo and watch it. And then try to implement it in training. And then study kickboxers. And then just watch wrestling at the highest level and what positions are dominating. And then just study jiu-jitsu. Studying all the martial arts. Everyone is so like detailed, so detailed and so in depth. But I
When's
think
the last time you hit the bag, man?
me and Shane, I strapped up my gloves yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Strapped up my gloves, put my mouthpiece in, and Sean and I were pecking around in the cage for probably
cool.
30 minutes. So it's feeling good. My shoulder's feeling good again. I'm starting able to punch again, and it feels good. It feels good. But yeah, definitely, just throwing those punches again makes me. It's like, oh yeah, damn. I used to really, really love striking for a long time. Okay, so we got some questions here on my Patreon. Patreon.com/RedHawk Academy. There's years of content up there. Years. Probably over 4 years of content. A lot of it's not released ever. So if you want to get on there, I reply to all the messages on there. There's discounts to the Thorn supplements. You get 30% off the Thorn supplements if you're with the $10 tier. Then you get some discounts on merch, and then I do giveaways all the time. So I'm thankful for all my Patreon people. So here's some questions. Actually, real quick before. Frank, have you been staying busy with work? Have you been staying busy with work? Have you been? Good. Okay, good. Okay, Daniel Mooney says, financial budgeting and literacy. How did you manage your money when you didn't have much? I'm not the one to ask about that because when I didn't have much, I literally would my bank account would go down to almost zero. A couple times it did go to $0, and then I'd fight, and then money would go back in, a couple thousand. And then I'd spend it all till my next fight, almost down to zero. A couple thousand would come in. Spend it all, a couple thousand would come in. So I wasn't very good at budgeting back then. But now I've gotten a little bit better at budgeting. Like for a while, it's just like you don't let your account go below this. A couple months later, okay, I'm not going to let my account go below this now. But it's everyone's financial situation is different. I'm not the one to talk about financials, really. Jay, how you been doing with your financials?
Dude, every time I try to save, bro, something always happens. I don't know. Like, I don't know. Some like emergency thing happens, and I have to. Mm-hmm. I have no choice but to like spend it.
Yeah. Well, thankfully you're in a spot where you have it to spend.
Yeah, that's true. I always think about it too. So at least I have it, like I used to. So, but I'm trying to do better, save a little bit.
Yeah, because isn't that what what's her face said on your reading?
Yeah, when I got my reading, like from the, what is she called? Like just a reader, right?
Yeah.
She just said in this lifetime you have to learn how to manage your money because you're like, she basically sound really bad with money. Mm-hmm. She's like, this lifetime, just learn, put money away, don't like blow it, Yeah, but it's crazy that she said that, because it's true.
One thing you're good about, you don't have a car payment.
Yeah.
You don't have big responsibilities with kids. Mm-hmm. You're not buying things that you're just got to have a payment every month just because you can. So in that way, you're pretty smart. You don't have a lot of overhead like that.
True.
Vic Romero, Dr. Dabber or Volcano, which would you prefer? It's different for everyone. I think if you've got some good stuff for that Dabber, I think it can be good. I don't like to get that fucked up on the Dabber, so I like the Volcano. It's not as harsh, so I prefer the Volcano. LL Puff Daddy, how to initiate sex with your partner? Like, how do you start the conversation with your girlfriend that ends with smashing biscuits instead of just saying, "Hey, let's bang"? Jay, how do you do it?
Start rubbing her back, kissing her a little bit.
All right.
Then start rubbing.
Yeah, I like to just smack her ass.
Really?
And say, fuck, that ass is looking fat.
That's what you tell Mariah. She's like, stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I
But
think there's
sometimes they're not in
different-
the mood, or sometimes it'll be vice versa. Have you ever not been in the mood and she has?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes after training, yeah, for sure. But just maybe just being flirty and touching them a little bit. It's just with girls, with guys, it's like, okay, we're rocked up, we're ready to just fuck, whatever. Let's go. With girls, they want to warm up. They want to just feel you flirting with them. Maybe kissing on their neck a little bit, like you said, touching them a little bit, taking your time and just teasing them a little bit will get them, I think, a little bit more horned up than just saying let's fuck. And it's when you live together for so long, it's hard to do that. You're seeing that person when they're waking up. You're seeing them at their worst all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's important to.
But it's way different from like when it's a girl you don't really know, you haven't hung out with that much, or it's your first time hanging out. Like, how do you initiate that? Because when you're talking about your girlfriend you've been with forever.
Yeah. Well, when it's a new girl, it's pretty easy to initiate.
Is it? I feel like it's hard.
It is. I don't think it is because in my situation, the girl usually knows I'm not really looking for a girlfriend.
You set it up like that?
Yeah. I set it up and they kind of know, like, hey, I'm not really
Trying to wife you, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Zane Johnson. There's always a discussion about morning routines. How about competition routines? Ways to direct negative thoughts before competition, developing a killer alter ego before competition, instilling the thought into athletes that you don't lose, you learn. I talk about this in the newsletter that's coming out. And everyone just hopes you can tell them something that's just going to change it. Like there's a hack to doing it, but it's really not. On competition day, you're either going to be confident or you're not, and it's just going to be based on the weeks before, the 6 weeks, the 8 weeks before. How hard did you push yourself in training? Because if you didn't push yourself in training and you try to sit out rounds, you try to skip rounds, you try to get easy rounds, now competition day's there, and you have a bunch of guys that are hungry and prepared, then there's nothing you can do that's going to make you confident. So it's just important to train hard and just be ready. Put yourself through hard training. When you're fucking tired and exhausted and you feel like you don't have nothing left, look around the room and say, okay, who's going to give me another good go? Who's going to push me and push my limits? Maybe they're going to beat me. That's okay. It's not always important to win in practice. In practice, that's the time to try shit, to shoot, to try submissions you're not used to, and to take risks in practice, because it's okay. People aren't keeping track of their wins at practice. They're just not. They're not going home and posting them on Facebook. Oh, I subbed what's-his-face today at practice 3 times. It doesn't matter. Have you been noticing some improvements? Wednesday, Jay, you were doing a good job at just shooting. Who cares if you get caught in a guillotine? Yeah. If you get caught in a guillotine 100 times, you're going to start learning, okay, I shoot, they grab my neck, I'm going to start passing to the right side and getting the timing on passing the guillotine. But if you never shoot in practice because you're scared to get caught in practice, you're never going to get good at that position.
Yeah, I always think of that too. Even when I first joined here, obviously didn't wrestle at all, and you taught me like how to wrestle. And then now to being confident or just taking those risks, like fuck it, if I get caught, I get caught. But sometimes it's good when you yell like, "Don't, who cares? So then I'll be more like, all right, fuck it, let's shoot.
Yeah, and I think there's a time, competition training, there's a time where you should try to win. Whatever, I'm going to try to win. That's what competition training is for. But classes at night, when we're just going live, that's the time to take risks and try it and fail and fail and fail and fail and just start to get good at different positions that you're not used to, for sure. So Zane Johnson, check out the newsletter, Zane. I talk a lot about that. I think it'll help. Jack, balancing budget while you're trying to optimize your setup. Everyone's just so different with their budget, but doing the best you can. Some diet recovery tools, they're not super expensive. Some are expensive. So maybe you can just start throughout your life, start saving them. Maybe you can buy a little scraper here and there. Maybe you can buy an inversion table, a foam roller, and just add it up throughout the years. You're not going to be able to, most people aren't going to be able to buy it and afford it all at once. A cold plunge, red light, all the expensive shit. So just do the best you can and find the stuff that you can afford at that time. And that's it. Carlson Simmons. I've been thinking about starting jiu-jitsu. Is it best to do gi or no gi? Depends your gym. If your gym has more no gi and they focus more on no gi, start with no gi. But if they focus more on gi and they have a gi curriculum, do the gi. For us, if you're brand new, we have so many beginners classes on the schedules. I recommend you do gi. come in and we have more of a curriculum for that, and you can learn how to break fall, you can learn how to shrimp, you can learn how to do this. But if people say us, we only have, we have 5 no-gis. 2 are invite only, 3 are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night. Those aren't really the best classes to come and learn the absolute basics in, because I have a bunch of advanced guys that we need to do some more advanced stuff.
You think we'll ever do like a beginner no-gi
Yeah.
class eventually?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, we could add that. We could add that soon if you wanted. Devin Riggs, have you always been into health and wellness, or is it something that you developed over time? When you and Mariah got together, were you both into that kind of stuff, or did one get the other into it? Yeah, we definitely, when Mariah and I met, we weren't into like health and stuff. We would just eat shit. We'd fucking eat cinnamon rolls. But I didn't know how to eat good. No one taught me how to eat good, but I was fighting. So then I was actively looking. I remember I found the Dolce diet, 3 weeks to shredded. That's one of the first things I found. And then I started learning how to eat healthy a little bit more. And then we found Paul Chek, and we learned about organic quality foods, and just kind of put us on the path to, damn, whatever you fill your body with, that's the kind of output you're going to have. So yeah, we've definitely grown together in that area. We weren't always like that. Slowly over time, we started learning and implementing more. And now it's kind of like a lifestyle. But still, we still eat shit. I mean, she made some pizzas this weekend. We still eat some random shit sometimes. So, Sean M. Strengthening relationships with your friends, more so relationships with your friends that you don't click with as much, as well as your friends who are closer with. Also, how to approach your friends who are your roommates about things they do that bother you, such as making messes and not cleaning up, etc. Much love, Jobins. Yeah, that's a tough one. It's got to be the right time. The time to do it isn't when you guys are both edgy already, and you can feel you're both edgy, and then you just bring it up to make it more of an explosion. Maybe the time to do it is when you guys are both in a good mood, having fun, and then you just joke about it. Maybe you joke about it, say, "God damn it, I wish you cleaned up more, brother," and smile at them and maybe see what they say. Or if you guys are real friends, you should be able to talk about that stuff and maybe get in a little scuffle about it. But then after you guys go work out, you go do something, then you should be okay. You should be able to repair that friendship if it's a real friendship. But if something small like that ruins a friendship, then it's like it probably wasn't really a real friendship anyway. Jesse Shemansky. Would you rather work the first job you ever worked for the rest of your life, or marry the first girl you ever had sex with? Fuck. Probably marry the first girl I ever had sex with. I can't fucking be, what is it called? I can't wash Harley Davidsons for the rest of my life. Well, that was one of my first jobs. Actually, first job, Tyrama. Fuck that. Fuck that. Just changing the tires, working with these 40, 50-year-old grumpy-ass dudes, and I'm in the back of the warehouse hiding in a pile of tires, trying to get time to tick. And then they call me to say, "Hey, Tim, move this car off the lift." I'm like, "All right, no problem." They jump in the car, and it's a foreign car. So I think it's an automatic. So I just try to fire her up. And the stick shift's on the side of the fucking, on the side of the console thing. And I start that thing up, and it's in first gear. So it bucks itself right off that lift. And I smash into the tire machine. And the old cranky guy who hates me, I almost killed him. Because that tire machine saved his life. And the car slams into that, and that guy's shaking like this. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then they sent me home, and they sent me to get a marijuana test. They thought I was high. Thankfully, I wasn't. Throughout high school, I was really against weed. But yeah, the Tyrama job, hell no. First girl I had sex with, yeah, she can be one of my wives. Oh, yeah. One of our training partners, Josh Demas, was on the new seasons of Love is Blind. He didn't make it. He didn't find his perfect match at the beginning, but I think they bring him back, and he causes some drama. So we'll see kind of drama comes about there.
I wonder if he went into it like, okay, I'm on a TV show, like, let me be a character, or was he for real looking for love?
Yeah, I don't know. Because you ever watch any of the Love Is Blind?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. Yeah.
They're funny.
Holy, they're funny. And then they come out and they meet each other, and some of those girls are so conniving, dude.
I know. Seducers, huh?
And they're just playing the game, and they're cute, and it's just like, oof, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Okay, Roger are you dropping new Red Hawk shirts for the summer? Yes, I am. I actually have some new ones coming out that'll be available at the gym and stuff, but I'm actually going to start, for the rest of this year, I'm going to do 3 drops on sugarshop.co of the Red Hawk merch. And they got the designers. I posted them on Patreon for a vote, which ones. We got some sweet stuff coming up. And we'll do 3 drops for over the span of these next 3 months or the rest of the year on his site. So it'll be sweet. Okay, Jared Fleeties. Good morning. Not sure how to deal with toxic parents. I avoid my negative friends, but it's difficult to do with your parents. I was kicked out of my house at 15, friends, couches, homeless, until I put myself through college. Married a beautiful woman who is a NICU doctor, and now we have a 2-year-old daughter. I'm doing well in life, and my parents want to be grandparents to my daughter. However, they are toxic and negative. Do I cut them out? I would say, Jared, you're adult now. You're an adult now. I think you could sit with your parents and say, hey, I love you guys. You're my parents. But these are the stuff that I don't want around my kid. These are the toxic things. And if it really hurts their feelings and it pisses them off and they said, I'm going to do that anyway, Jared, it's like, well, maybe you can't hang out with my kid then. Because that's your kid. You're an adult. And you should be able to talk to them at this point and say, hey, these are some things that I don't like that you guys do. I love you guys. I love you guys. You're my parents. But these things I do not want my kid to be around. And hopefully that helps out, Jared. Joel Martinez. Opinion on dab pens. I feel they're a very convenient way to smoke, get high, but I also know they're probably not the best for you. I'm smoking my dab pen every night before bed. How bad am I fucking up my body? What do you think? Hard to say, Joel, but I just think in those pens, they just add shit. I think they add shit that's probably not good for you, and it's probably not the best to just smoke before bed. I'm no expert in that area, but I think they do have like live rosin pens that are better than others. But like I said, I don't know shit about that. But if you're just smoking it and putting it into your lungs and just getting super high before bed, it'd probably be best to maybe wean off. Brendan Schlip. Knowing you're a big fan of Kill Tony, would you and Sugar ever want to be a guest on a Kill Tony episode? I know Jake Shields was on one. You guys would be killer guests. Also, who's your favorite regular on the show? I don't know if I'd want to go on. I think Sugar would be good on there. I'd go and watch and support, but I'd be nervous. I'd be too nervous. Favorite guest? I love when William Montgomery's on. He's funny. He's super funny. But Tony Hinchcliffe, he just does such a good job at hosting that show. He's fucking good at it. Okay, Jacob Berger, how much strength and conditioning do you think is necessary on top of your BJJ and striking training? Also, do you think it's necessary to train twice a day in order to get good enough to become a professional in BJJ or MMA? Depending on your athleticism and depending on how well you learn, if you want to be professional in jiu-jitsu and MMA, you probably need to train twice a day. I've seen people that can train once a day that are freak athletes that can go pretty far, but still you probably need to train twice a day. Strength and conditioning, that's another one. It's like, how are you a pretty natural explosive athlete? Are you a pretty healthy person? And I would say spend more time on your techniques and start to try to become efficient when you're striking, efficient with your energy when you're striking, efficient with your energy with jiu-jitsu and wrestling, and then putting it all together and being efficient. And finding spots, especially beginning in jiu-jitsu, you got to find spots to rest. You got to know what spots are good to rest in. Maybe I'm on top half guard with a head and arm control. Maybe rest a little bit. I'm in side control and I got this guy pinned. I just passed their guard. Maybe rest a little bit and try to cook him a little bit, or mount, or the back, the spots to rest. So at the beginning, trying to find spots to rest, but then that's the same with everything. With kickboxing, with MMA, you're just trying to find spots almost to make it seem like you're working, but you're kind of resting, because that's one of the biggest things. So I would say, I've always said technique. If you train more jiu-jitsu, train more striking, it's going to be better than lifting. But it is nice to have the horsepower. And if you get injured a lot and you're injury prone, maybe it'd be good to lift twice a week just to keep you healthy. Ian Schuler, have you tried those Day Trip Euphoria Via hemp gummies? They say 100 milligrams, 70 milligrams THC each. What is it like? I haven't tried one of those. Those are too high dose for me. If I take a 10 milligram edible, I'm fucked up. It's too much. So I haven't tried those. Some people, it's so weird. Just some people deal with THC different than others. I like this new weed I'm smoking. It's low THC, high CBD. So you can still think clearly, and you can still do some good shit. You can not just sit there couch locked. Okay. Harry Galvin, how much time should you take in between amateur fights? Hard to say, Harry. When I was 18 to 19, I had 10 amateur fights. 10 amateur MMA fights when I was 18 to 19. I was just like, I'm healthy. Let's fight, because I want the belts. I wanted the belts in both those amateur promotions, so I knew I needed to fight a lot to get those. Tucker Sudnick, what's your favorite podcast to listen to in order to get your mind prepared or ready? There's a handful of different ones. There's a Finding Mastery podcast by Michael Gervais. He's had a lot of good people on. I like Tim Ferriss, some of the guests he's had on, some of Jocko Willing's podcasts. There's too many to mention, but there's a couple for you. What's your most unpopular opinion? Like, what's something you think the majority of people would disagree with you on? Curious to see what the boys say too. That's a good question, Buchis. What's an unpopular opinion for you, Jay?
Fuck, I don't know. I never really thought of that unpopular opinion.
Where most people in society would be like, what the fuck?
I don't think you need to be like, make crazy money to be happy, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Because, like, I feel like I'm pretty happy and I'm not, like, great. Like, obviously I'm not rich, but, like, I enjoy my life, you know? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of people think that, you know, you got to be, like, a millionaire or something to be happy.
Yeah. And they see a lot of people with nice cars and nice houses and all this stuff, but then they have no idea what those people's life is like behind closed doors.
Yeah. Even like when we meet people like that are in that status, even like super famous or have a lot of money, and I could just tell like, yo, they're not. I feel like I'm more happier than this person. You know what I mean?
They got a lot of anxiety going on, stress, and then maybe they're making money at that point in their life, and then they up their lifestyle so big that they have to maintain that amount of money. And then if they don't, they're going to start getting depressed. And yeah, it's a tricky game. I think that's good. An unpopular opinion, I would just say unpopular opinion would be, for me, is going to college. I mean, if you're going to college to be a doctor and you want to do that, cool. You want to be a lawyer, cool. But other than that, if you're not sure what you want to do, I just think don't go to college. And I think that's becoming more of a popular opinion. Yeah. And then for me, I mean, monogamy maybe. But I think monogamy and having one partner for the rest of it, I think it's good for a lot of people. Good for most people. I don't think it's the one way though. I don't think it's the one way. You can have a relationship and it's like this. And it's like this. This is the contract. You sign that contract. You do your vows, and that's the way. I think that's a little bit old school. I think everyone should be able to kind of form the relationship what works best for them. That's probably unpopular. Dinero, money currency. Before comprehending the importance of water hydration, what type of water were you drinking? I was drinking really anything, just bottled water that would just sit in plastic. Who knows how long? It could sit in a warehouse for months and just be getting cooked and hot and having that plastic leak into that water. Yeah, I would just really kind of drink anything until I learned about it. What will you do if your first kid is allergic to dogs? Well, 2 of our dogs are hypoallergenic. They're the poodles, so they don't shed a lot. That would suck, though. That would fucking suck. Because I love those goddamn poodles. Okay. NZMR Charlie. Sup, Timbo? Big love from New Zealand, brother. I saw you had a wee staph sore a few weeks ago, or minor skin infection. Is staph the elephant in the room of jiu-jitsu that doesn't get talked about? Recently, my gym had a rough wave of staph. It's settled down now, but 10 members had pretty bad sores with some having to go on IV antibiotics. Ugh. And use hospital-level soaps. The gym is brand new and gets cleaned before and after use. As a beginner, I hadn't even really considered skin infections. Can you discuss the issue? Thanks, Jobin. I think it goes around. I think if you're going to be training on the mats and person's sweating on you for years and years and years, you're eventually going to get a ringworm or a staph. But I think people hear that and they freak out. But it's like you put a little cream on it. If it's staph, then you take some antibiotics and it goes away in a couple days. But for me, I researched what's the best soap that kills everything, and it was Defense soap. So I got Defense soap, and then I threw away all the old mop heads, got new mop heads, and now it seems like it's kind of getting cleared up. But I fucking hate when that happens too. It's annoying, but it's just part of it. And the earlier you can get on top of it, the better. And maybe NZM Charlie, maybe talk to your professor about it. Say, hey, I'll clean the mats. Can we get some good soap and some nice mops, and I'll clean the mats, and take it in your own hands maybe. Steven, would you recommend an athlete to use the lung opener Shug uses before training? He swears by it. He fucking loves it. He loves that thing. He does it before every practice. I haven't messed around with it. Gino Forte. Hey, Tim and Jax and whoever else may be there. I want to ask you about a time in your life that you ever felt lost. Currently feeling stuck here in Ireland, thinking of making the jump to a new country and starting things fresh. Any advice for a 25-year-old that isn't 100% sure what he's meant to be doing with his life? Gino, I said that earlier. Figure out your interest, Gino, and then try to surround yourself with experts and study them, and really, that should be your guide right there. What are your interests? Because I'm pretty sure, Gino, you're a young buck. Oh yeah, 25 years old, young buck. In 10 years, you'll be 35, and you could become an expert at whatever you start right now and focus on completely. I'm not sure what it's like over there in Ireland, though. James Shush. What would you say, Jay, if he's stuck, 25 years old?
Probably the same thing, because I feel like that's where I was when I was working at a call center. I was like super depressed, but I knew, like, obviously I was like, man, I'm out of shape. I've been wanting to learn how to defend myself, and I just happened to start going to the gym, working out, and then jiu-jitsu gym, and then one thing led to another. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
James Seuss, advice when you're having a hard time cutting out sugar. It is fucking hard, dude. It is hard. Completely cutting out sugar, too. It's like, so you're not going to do any fruit. So you're not going to do any honey. So you're not going to do any of that stuff. Or be like, I can do honey. I can do fruit. And stick away from white sugar. Maybe that could be your goal at first.
Zevias or what?
Hit Zevias. I haven't been hitting Zevias as much. Actually, I had one yesterday. The ginger ale kind. It wasn't too bad. Yeah, Zevias are good. They fill your stomach a little bit, and they're a little bit sweet. Some people don't like the taste of stevia, though. I don't mind it. Okay, Sam Ledbetter. Big love here, Red, from the UK. Just wondering if you've ever thought about traveling over here and doing a seminar. Would love to be taught by one of the great minds. Keep up the good work. Loving your content. Yeah, Sam, I mean, maybe in the future. Maybe in the future we'll do that. Go over to the UK and do a little seminar for the people. Justin Lathy, are you boys still coming out to Boston for the live pod? We're supposed to jump on the call with that guy. We're both nervous about that. A live pod. We'll probably eventually do it.
Wait, why are you nervous to do it?
I think it would be fine. I think so
too.
I think it would be fine. We could do it, and it would do it. But the thing about the podcast, especially the Timbo Sugarshow, it's not really our main focus. We're focused on so much other stuff. Mm-hmm. When fighting is done, then we'll be able to focus on the podcast. We'll be able to travel and do guests and make it more of like, okay, this is one of our main jobs. Right now, it's just like show up, rip a pod. So down the road, because right now, especially with Sean being in the top, it's like the focus has to be improving right now. We're going to have to fight fucking studs like Marab and Corey Sandhagen and these guys in this top. They're such animals. They're elite. Most elite fighters in the world. So the focus has to be improving right now, improving the strength, improving everything if we're going to compete with those guys. Can't be like, okay, we're going to travel here, we're going to go do here, we're going to fuck around here. It's like, that's not the way to become the greatest of all time. So trying to keep the focus where it should be. Jake, what's up, Timbo and friends? What things will change or need to change when my fiance move in together? Thanks so much. Yeah, I mean, just watching that Love is Blind, when they're saying, I love you so much and we're going to plan our lives together. It's like, you haven't even seen this person pissed off. You don't even know if this person can clean up after themselves. You don't know this person's parents. Their parents could be super close-minded, just like judgy, and then you could start seeing that in their kid. So getting to know your partner really well, and then being able to stay calm when they piss you off and not freak out and get up and fucking punch the wall and just blah. And being able to communicate and say, if they say something that pisses you off, be like, this is what I just heard. When you said that, this is what I heard. I heard this and it made me feel this way. And then communicating back and forth. But it's fucking hard, dude. It's hard in relationships. What about you, Jay? Moving in with a girl, what kind of stuff?
Fuck yeah, I know. It's so different, like, because obviously, you know, my situation. I've tried to live with Anissa for, like, a couple times, you know, and it never ended up working out. But I think, too, like, I look back at it, it's like I was way younger and, like, I just wasn't as mature and ready to actually, like, move in. Like, that's a big commitment. Mm-hmm. And I feel like, yeah, like you said, you got to make sure you guys are communicating. I think the biggest thing for me, I always say, is my space, you know. I figured out, like, me as a person, I like my own space. I like my privacy. So I have to be able to communicate that with my partner. Like, hey, like, I need a couple hours to myself, you know, like, do your thing, I do my thing. And I think it, too, how you always say, too, like, make sure you both guys have your interests and hobbies that you guys are doing outside of each other. You guys get real annoyed of each other real quick, especially living together.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing. There's so many books though. There's so many good books like Esther Perel and relationship books that you can read and that'll teach you how to react to different things and how to bring up things that are maybe a touchy subject. There's so many good books from experts out there that you can read and look into. So today I'm going to go home. Actually, we'll maybe go to Wildflower after this. Wildflower Bread Company and grab ourselves a salad. Go home. Possibly game a little bit, and then come tonight for gi jiu-jitsu and no gi. You training tonight, Jay?
Yep.
Fuck yeah, we're gonna have some good sessions tonight. And then what else? Do we have some trips coming up? I think April 22nd we might be going to Montana. Tommy McMillan might be fighting, and I might get another couple of my amateurs on here. And Kron Gracie lives there, so hopefully we can get a session in.
He does? In Montana?
Kron Gracie lives in Bozeman, has his own academy, and he's preparing for a fight too. So maybe we can have him and Sean spar. Maybe we can go up there and roll with him, and then I'll make sure to do a vlog for Patreon. Who's he coming back to? He's coming back to. It's a good match. Yeah, it's in the UFC.
Damn, that's sick.
They just announced it, and he had a couple-year layoff after Cub Swanson beat him up pretty bad. He had a couple-year layoff. Opened his gym up there in Bozeman, so that might be good to go up there. And then anything else in the fight world, really?
The MMA world? No, not really. I mean, besides that big card coming up next week, right? Is he?
Yeah, that's going to be sweet. That's going to be real sweet. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed the pod. Remember, check out the free newsletter. It's pretty short. It's not a big, long, boring newsletter. It gets straight down to business. Check it out. And also patreon.com/RedHawk Academy. I'm so thankful for all my supporters there. And I enjoy the Patreon and I enjoy building it up. And I'm going to continue to do so. And then I think we're at 40.1 thousand subscribers. So thank you for all the people that click the subscribe button. It helps out a lot if you just click that button. All right, guys. Let's have a good week. Love y'all. Thank you, Frank. Okay. Bye-bye, guys.